It's not completely a solid coalition, and we don't know every day if this government will last 1 month, 6 months, or go to the full term.
Hello Filipe, and thank you for joining DUKASCOPY TV today. So let's firstly start by looking at Portugal, which is in quite an interesting political situation at the moment. But what is the outlook for the Portuguese economy, as well as the growth outlook for the Portuguese economy?
Hello, good morning. Actually, this week it were published the last GDP numbers for 2016. Portugal grew 1.9% quarter on quarter and 1.4% in the whole 2016, which is a good result. And Portugal is growing slowly, but is growing on a constant path since 2013, more or less. So that's good news. Politically speaking, we have this unusual coalition in Portugal, that's a bit informal coalition between the left side parties here. And it's not completely a solid coalition. And we don't know every day if this government will last 1 month, 6 months, or go to the full term. And that is something that is, as you might expect, making all the political situation a bit fluid. But apparently, in the economic side, that is not showing too much, because the numbers are, well, not great, but they are good. And also in terms of public deficit, figures are also nice. We had a 2.1 deficit in 2016, which is the lowest in 4 decades in Portugal, and well below the 3% that the European rules say. So even if people discuss a bit this number, because some say that some expenses were not properly registered, others say that some payments have been delayed, but in a nutshell, it's a very good headline to have a deficit so low for European terms. And of course, growing at 1.4, 1.5% is acceptable in all these contexts. So that is the main view for right now.
So last word on Portugal, is the public debt sustainable, and will Portugal eventually need another bailout package?
Yeah, that's the most difficult part in the Portuguese economy, because if the 2016 numbers were, well, nice in general terms, the debt is still too high. In terms of gross debt, we are above 130% of GDP. In net terms, we are above 120%. And that, of course, makes the argument of, the Portuguese debt is probably non-sustainable. If we see at the average cost, we are now standing at 3.2% a year average cost on our debt. Last year it was 2.5% and rising. So it's easy math. If you get 1% inflation a year and a growth of 1.5, and you have an average debt above that sum, of course you have on a problem of sustainability. But the final word for now is that Portugal feels the support from the ECB, and from what we are seeing about the way Greece is being treated in the last month, I think it's safe to assume that Portugal will be also supported by the ECB operations for a longer term. So the debt sustainability issue is a problem in the medium term, but I think it's not a problem in the short term.
So moving over to Brazil, what can you tell us about the current situation with the Brazilian economy, with the real really continuing to strengthen day by day?
Yeah, it's a bit of a paradox, because if you see, real has been one of the most positive currencies in the world this year, climbing already more than 6% against the dollar. 1 year ago, it is trading now 27% strong than 1 year ago. So it has been a really interesting development, and with and of course Brazilian real has a positive carry of more than 10% a year. So it's it has been a very good investment on the last months. But of course, this is a bit of a paradox because the economy is not doing so great. In 2016, economy plunged more than 3%. We are on the deep recession in Brazil. The forecasts for this year are positive growth of more or less 0.5%, but it's very low. But other indicators are also very bad. For instance, the unemployment is on the highest of more than 6 years now, just above 8%, and the confidence is not great. I was there a couple of weeks ago, and the mood on the streets, the mood on the companies was very bad. So it's a bit of a paradox seeing a currency strengthening at the same time the economy is not going so well. I think maybe the currency is making a bit of a front-running process and trying to discount better days ahead, but today the economy is not so good.
Last thing on Brazil as well, and finally, do you expect the political situation in Brazil to have a particularly a big effect on their economy going forward with elections coming up in 2018?
Well, as you might know, the political situation in Brazil is very complicated. It's been very complicated for the last years. We had this impeachment process of Dilma, the former president. Also, the current president might be involved in some scandals about financing the parties in Brazil. There is this huge investigation called Lava Jato in Brazil that is arresting a lot of people, important people in Brazil. So the current situation is not very clear on the short term. And above that, we will have elections in 2018. And at this point, nobody knows exactly who is going to win, of course, but nobody knows exactly even what would be the candidates. For instance, if you look at the polls, the former president Lula da Silva appears in the top, with roughly 30% of the votes, but he is not candidate. And some say, it's rumored on the streets, that if he does present the will to go again to the Planalto, which is the presidency, some news will appear about this involvement with corruption, and he might even be arrested. So you see, the strongest candidate at this point may not be candidate after all. And the other candidates or possible candidates are Marina, which is from the left side of the political spectrum. There are, for instance, Jair Bolsonaro, which is from far right, and is going to be a strong candidate, in my opinion. And we have also Geraldo Alckmin, we have also Fernando Haddad, Ciro Gomes. Well, the problem is that nobody knows yet what would be the candidates, and it's not very safe to assume what is going to happen in Brazil for 2019 ahead. So for a foreign company or even a Brazilian company planning to invest in Brazil, well, they face a lot of uncertainty, and that makes the real strength even a bit more puzzling in this context.
Thank you very much, Filipe, for speaking with DUKASCOPY TV today.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. And remember, if you like this video and would like to see more, be sure to head over to dukascopy.tv.